Alito Chimachukma, this is Chief Steve coming at y'all with another episode of True Story. Glad to be back. I know you guys probably noticed that I didn't post during my normal usual days. And that's because I've been down with a little bit of sickness, I guess you could say. Just been under the weather for a little while. One of my kids caught a sore throat, and then I went ahead and did as a parent does, catch it right behind him. So I was down for a few days. But nonetheless, I'm back. Voice is still a little scratchy, but we're going to get through this. So I just kind of been keeping it low key, just been sticking to my herbs and, just doing a little self-healing and consulting my powwow, which is my wife. And this is what the video is going to be about today, because I know if you're anything like me and you're posting constant truths out here on the social medias, you do catch a few strays from, different foreigners. I'm just going to say that. Excuse me. Basically asking you, oh, and you say you're Indian, you say that you're, indigenous, or have you ever been to a powwow? Have you ever been, do you even go to powwows or do anything of that nature? It's like, do you even know what that's all about? And some of us have, and some of us haven't. I personally have not. And that's because I know the true origins of what a powwow is. And a lot of people do not. But the true origins of the powwow is not a gathering. It's not a thing where we all come together and we dance around in a circle, and just make a whole bunch of noise. That's not what a powwow was. As it hasn't been that until recently. And it's the powwow. The powwow concept in itself is an extreme misconception, and you can even label that, as far as our gatherings go, you can call that name a misnomer, because we never called our gatherings powwows. We never done anything of that nature. The powwow in itself is not even an event. It's a title of an individual, a medicinal individual, a medicine man, if you will, or a shaman. And when I say medicine man, I use the term lightly. It could be a man or a woman. For those who are well skilled and learned in the herbs and the roots, and who have the abilities, natural and supernatural, to heal our people. Those were your powwows. Okay? And I have a definition that I can get into about that before we get into the main read that we're going to go into, which is coming from the same book that we were in on the last episode, when we actually ties into the powwows and their vital roles to the tribes. So before we get into that read, like I said, excuse me, we're going to go into the definition, the true definition of what a powwow is. According to current definitions, but you'll still see in between the lines what a true powwow actually was. And now the truth can't be hidden anymore. All tongues must confess the truth in this day and age. So we're going to show you what the true definition of what a powwow is, and how it's been misinterpreted for a lot of people. So we're going to go ahead and pause for the cause, and we're going to go ahead and get into that definition. Alrighty, y'all. So this is here on Google, and I looked up the powwow history. All you got to do is just type that into Google, and you'll see this come up right here. This is from folklife.si.edu, the Smithsonian. So this is from the Smithsonian website. It says right here, the term powwow derives from powwow, meaning medicine man, in Nardic, a language spoken by the Algonquin peoples in Massachusetts. English settlers began misusing the word to refer to the meetings of indigenous medicine men, and later to any kind of American Indian gathering. Now you see that the Smithsonian recognizes the American Indian, okay? And if you can see in this picture right here, you can see how dark these Indians looked back here. That's because the Smithsonian knows who we truly are, okay? So it shouldn't be any stretch of the imagination to know that when they were talking about powwows, they were talking about our people. They were talking about our healers, our grandmothers, our grandfathers, our uncles, our aunts, the ones that that you can call anytime you need a family, what they call it, an old time remedy. That one person that got that hookup, that has that family book of grandma's old time remedies, or big mama's old time herbs and, healing spells that they call it, and you can be like, hey, I got this sore throat, you know what I mean? And how can I get rid of that? Or I got, this going on. What can I use for this? And it needs to be a time where you can just call a family member or call a mama, call a auntie, call a grandma, call a big mama, call unc, call grandpa. And they say, oh, well, just use this herb right here. Just go on to the store and get you some of this. Or come on to the garden and, let me pick some of this stuff out and go steep it in some water and drink this real quick. Because that's how we knew that we were autochthonous to this land, because we knew the herbs. We knew the roots that come from the ground because we ourselves are from the soil. So it shouldn't be too far-fetched to understand that they know that when they say the American Indian, they're talking about us. What other people do you know today that can tell you, oh, go and use this, get this out the ground, go steep that in some water, put that in there and, and drink that, and, you're going to fall asleep for a little bit, but by the time you wake up, you're going to be feeling much better. You're going to, use this and use that with that, and that's going to help you out. Our people do that. Our people do that all the time. And that's still a practice that is being used today by a lot of families, including my own. Like I said, my wife is my powwow, and I can tell you exactly what I used to kind of soothe the sore throat that I had. She gave me some peppermint, some clove, some raspberry leaf, chamomile, quinine, which is just cherry bark, essence of a bark from a tree. And it's different herbs and different mixes that you can use, to get rid of our ailments, and not only to get rid of ailments, but to make us thrive, health wise. And that's something that the European settlers have seen and were amazed at, and a lot of them took it as sorcery. They took it as a form of evil, because they were so amazed and shocked, and they didn't understand and could conceive the fact that we can use these different natural remedies, these different natural herbs and roots from the ground, and completely cure ourselves of what they would perceive as a near death ailments, like deadly ailments and illnesses, and uh, deadly wounds and stuff. Our warriors in war would come back wounded, hurt, damn near on the brink of death, and we would use different herbs and different remedies and incorporate our ceremony and soothing therapy with it, and basically nurse our warriors back to life. And they couldn't understand that, and they looked at it as something that was a taboo, that was evil, and that's something that you can also tie into the witch huntings, the witchings and stuff that happen out here in the US. A lot of those people that were deemed witches were our people and were taught by our people, our medicine men and medicine women, our powwows. And the ones that they thought were witches and stuff, they did not fold to the limiting capabilities of what we know today as pharmaceuticals, or their medicines and stuff, their sciences. We used our own indigenous remedies to heal ourselves, to make ourselves thrive, to bring upon ourselves good fortune and longevity. And with those herbs and roots, we had certain ceremonies. Different tribes had different vibes. And a lot of those times, the foreigners were intimidated and afraid of, especially when they were fighting against us. They're trying to figure out, man, we just saw this dude dying on the battlefield. How is he, how did he just come back to life like the next day? Or you know what I mean? How is he fighting even harder than what he did the last time we saw him? And that's because we knew our stuff. Just like my wife, just like your mom, just like your grandma, just like your big mama, your grandpa, your uncle, cousin, those who know these different remedies and different herbs and stuff were able to help us out and help us get to, accomplish the goals that we needed to accomplish health-wise, And it can even stretch as far as, bringing good fortune into your life, bringing, supernatural effects into your life. Different herbs had different abilities, and our people knew how to unlock those. You know what I mean? So this is pretty much, just to put the rumors to rest, and to put, the naysayers and the haters, just to put them back in their place when they ask you, oh, have you been to a powwow? Oh, you say that you're an Indian. You say that you're indigenous. You say that you're this and you're that. You're an American Indian. Have you ever been to a powwow? Do you ever powwow? Do you even powwow, bro? Like, look, now you know what the true definition of a powwow is. And whenever somebody asks me that, I just be like, nah, I don't go to powwows, because I'm in good health. Why would I need to go to a powwow? And then that's what trips them up, because they don't know, themselves don't even know what a powwow actually is and what it truly means. Oh, what do you mean? And then they don't even say anything afterwards. They don't even reply because they don't know, or they'll say something, stupid or whatever, and then just leave the conversation at that. But that's why I don't really engage in like the back and forth and the haters and the naysayers and everybody that's trying to prove us wrong, when clearly the proof is in the pudding. It's right there in black and white. All you have to do, this is Google. All you have to do is just type in, just tell them, type in powwow history. Type that in right there in the search bar, powwow history, and this will come up right here, straight from the Smithsonian. Right there, folklife.si.edu, Smithsonian. The term powwow derives from powwow, meaning medicine man in Nardic, a language spoken by the Algonquin peoples in Massachusetts. Okay? And the English settlers were the ones that misused the word to mean indigenous gatherings. But what do we call our gatherings? You already know what we call our gatherings. What do we call them? Reunions. What else we call them? Functions. What else we call them? Cookouts. Y'all already know. We have our own words for our own different things. And powwow is actually one of our words. but it didn't mean what people think it means today. So now that you guys know the definition of a powwow and that whole get down, we're going to go ahead and get into the main read. And we're going to pause for the cause, and I'm going to get to the book. We're going to knock this out. All right, y'all, here we are. And if you guys didn't get the name of the book on the last episode, here it is again: The Indian Races of North and South America, comprising an account of the principal aboriginal races, a description of their national customs, mythology, and religious ceremonies, the history of their most powerful tribes and of their most celebrated chiefs and warriors, their intercourse and wars with the European settlers, and a great variety of anecdote and description illustrative of personal and national character. And this is by Charles DeWolf Brownell, 1822 to 1909. This publication date was in 1864. Okay, in Hartford, Connecticut. Herbert Scranton and Company, Chicago, EB&RC. All right. The book is from the collections from the University of Michigan. And the source, as always, the National Archives, Internet Archive, archive.org. All right. So let's get into this. We left off at the end of chapter 1. We're going into chapter 2. And I find it funny how it all ties into, how my life just kind of like connected into this. Because as I was studying this, well, before I got into this second chapter, that is when I went down with the, the sore throat and everything, and had to basically consult my powwow, consult my wife, my healer. And she gave me my herbs and gave me the remedy, I was down for a minute, you know what I mean? But not too long. Most of the postponing of the video had to do with me just getting my voice back, and getting my throat clear and stuff, getting all the junk and stuff out my lungs. So, but outside of that, I've been moving, doing everything that I need to do, trying to stay warm because, I'm in California, I'm in Califia, but so how the rain and stuff has been hitting us hard. So, between the weather and, the sore throat and everything like that, I was like, okay, yeah, let me postpone on this. But we back now, baby. We here. So, they ain't stopping, nothing's going to stop us from getting this true story out here to y'all. So let's go ahead and get into this chapter. And I'm just going to take a small part of this. We're going to get into the powwows, and then, because this goes into, as you can see right here, chapter 2, religion of the Indians, their weapons and system of warfare, their lodgings, dress, ornaments, etc. All of that's covered in chapter 2. So we're just going to cover, where the powwows are and how they break that down. So let's get into it, y'all. Excuse me. Yet simple nature to his hope has given, behind the cloud-topped hill and humbler heaven, some safer world, in depths of wood embraced, some happier island in the watery waste. This is a quote from the Pope. So they're acknowledging that this place, that this place is an island, Turtle Island. All right. There we go. The Indians, before receiving instruction from Europeans, generally believed in the existence of a supreme deity, embodying a principle of universal benevolence, and that to him their gratitude was due for all natural benefits. On the other hand, they stood in fear of a spirit of evil, whose influence upon human affairs they considered as being more direct and familiar. To this being, known among many tribes as Habomako, much more assiduous devotion was paid than to the Great Spirit, it being far more essential in their view to deprecate the wrath of a terrible enemy than to seek the favor of one already perfectly well disposed towards his creatures. See, so we had a form of religion or, belief or ideology, whatever you want to call it. We had our own sets and values before the settlers came out through here. We knew of a great spirit and we knew of an evil spirit, and then there were some who did not believe in any of that at all, but they didn't call themselves atheists. That wasn't even a concept back then. And some just knew it as one thing, which was the great balancer, whether good or evil, whatever you want to call it. But it was something that brought balance to life, to our atmosphere, But different tribes, like I said, had different vibes. And, you can ask any of those who are into this, they know that, they know of the great spirit. They know of evil spirit, you know. So it is what it is. But besides these two superior deities, a sort of fanciful mythology not unlike that of many ancient Eastern nations invested every notable object with its tutelary divinity and bestowed on each individual his guardian spirit. Okay, so not only do we believe in a great spirit and an evil spirit, we had guardian spirits as well. Some call them, it's your animal spirit or your totem, or, however you want to break it down today. But they knew it as, for the most part, a guardian type spirit. And each clan had their own kind of set belief or value in whatever they, conceived in that notion. A general idea that the good would be rewarded and the bad punished was entertained. Far away to the warm southwest, a pleasant land was fabled in which the hunter, after death, should pursue his favorite employment in the midst of abundance and a stranger forever to want or fear. Okay? And this paragraph right here is very important because that ties into the sacred mysteries, the series that we had got into prior from that book, talking about the Amenti, talking about the land of the West, the place that is covered by the Yashe, that's covered by the saber trees, that, nobody will want for hunger, nobody will be hungry, nobody will be worried about anything. It's a place of peace, and comfort. So a lot of our hunters and a lot of our warriors knew about this place. They knew about this was like our form of, this was our basic, lack of a term, our perception of heaven, but it was here on earth. It was here in our atmosphere. It's a land in the West, and particularly according to where these tribes were, the Southwest, and which we know is around the Yucatan Peninsula area, in particular where these trees were indigenous and still are indigenous to. And this is the place that we knew and that the Egyptians knew from thousands of years back as the Amenti, as the land of the West, as that place of eternal paradise. All right. So a very important paragraph right here. And then a little quote right here on the bottom says, "Where everlasting autumn lies, a yellow wood and sunny skies." They had to put their little 2 cents into it. All right. So here it says, "Their heaven, as I said before, was as far removed from the sensual paradise of the Mohammedans," which, we know as Islam or Muslim, the Mohammedans. It says, as from the pure abstractions of an enlightened religion, and then it says, "Ease, comfort, and a sufficiency for the natural wants seemed all sufficient to these simple children of nature to render an eternity delightful." So, according to them, outside of the Christian religion, outside of the Muslim, outside of the Buddhist and everything of that nature that they've studied and known so far, our perception of nirvana or heaven or paradise was way more simpler in conception than any of these other religions. So, it was before these religions crept into our place, into our people, that we just had a simple concept We knew of a great spirit. We knew of an evil spirit. We knew of a balancer. We had guardian spirits. And then on top of that, we knew that, at the end of the day, we were to gather at this eternal place, at this place of paradise, that is here in the West, and we knew it according to the sacred mysteries as the Amenti. All right, so that's what the Egyptians knew it as, and we know that Egypt was here in the Americas. You feel me? So, and if you don't know, do your research. But going on, the description handed down to us of the Indian powwows or conjurers. You hear me? Powwows or conjurers. So they were also known as conjurers, and they're medicine men. Okay, derive an additional piquancy and interest from the fact that those who detailed them were generally as superstitious as the poor natives themselves. So now we're poor natives because now everything that we believe is superstitious compared to their so-called religion, right? Yeah, okay. Like I say you gotta read between you gotta understand these are still foreign documents here. Although they're here in our National Archive, these are foreigners with a foreign, perspective on how we did things. So it's gonna be a lot of shade thrown during these reads. And you just gotta weave through that. We might cite pages in which the necromantic performances of the red men, and that's something we got on too. We are the red men. All right. So ain't no difference between a red man and a copper colored. The red man is the copper colored Aborigine. Don't get it twisted. So let's go back. We might cite pages in which the necromantic performances of the red man are spoken of with all the pious horror that would naturally be excited by what were considered the direct operations of the devil, as displayed in the works of his children. You see this? Winslow taking occasion to explain the meaning of the word panise, often applied to notable warriors in New England, says the panises are men of great courage and wisdom, and to these also the devil appeareth more familiarly than to others, and, as we conceive, maketh covenant with them to preserve them from death by wounds with arrows, knives, hatchets, etc. So they're calling our healers, our conjurers, our medicine people, our medicine men, our healing women, whoever you want to call it, they're calling our family devils because they knew how to preserve our lives. You see this? They had a taboo against us. And it says, the works of the learned divine Cotton Mather are filled with similar extravagances. So this other guy right here, Cotton, about to say some crazy stuff too. These powwows, says Gookin, whoever this guy is, so this is another guy saying something about it, says these powwows, says Gookin, are partly wizards and witches. You hear that? Holding familiarity with Satan, that evil one, and partly are physicians and make use, at least in show, of herbs and roots for curing the sick and diseased. So these people are devils. They're part of Satan. They're evil people, but they're curing sickness and diseases, right? One can say that the ones that are performing malpractices and supposed to be, because we got high death rates in hospitals as a people right now. You can say those people are Satans and devils, right? But no, those are your doctors. Those are trained professionals. But they're giving our people different medicines and pharmaceuticals to keep our people sick. But those aren't devils. Those aren't of Satan. Those are trained in the Western way of medicine. Those are good people right there. And not saying that all doctors are bad doctors, and I'm not even going to get into all of that. But y'all know Y'all know the good ones from the bad ones. All right, just like anything else. These are sent for by the sick and wounded, and by their diabolical spells, mutterings, exorcisms, they seem to do wonders. They use extraordinary strange motions of their bodies, and so much that they sweat until they foam, and thus they continue for some hours together, stroking and hovering over the sick. These powwows are reputed, and I conceive justly, to hold familiarity with the devil. You see this? And we're going to stop right here. But yeah, because they're going to start getting into the warfare and different things of that nature. But you see how they conceived the perception that was conceived here about our people. And our people are healers. Our people weren't sitting there putting spells on people. Excuse me. They weren't making people sick. They weren't casting any negativity on anybody. They weren't causing disease and famine. They were sitting there literally healing our people, curing our people, preserving our people's lives. But because they couldn't understand what was going on, they're labeled as Satan. They're labeled as the devil. So this should tell you a lot about the religion that they brought over here. It was literally brought here to demonize us and to keep us away from our natural way of living. All right. But I'm not going to step on nobody's religion. I ain't going to call it out. But y'all see what a lot of these different key terms and concepts are familiar or have familiarity with and what they're connected to. So according to their religion, we were demons. We were devils. We were Satanists. Let's pause for the calls and we're going to wrap this up. So according to what we just read, these are your demons. These are your devils. These are your Satans right here. These are the people of Satan, those that cure and heal our people, that cure and heal our warriors, that keep our warriors fighting, that keeps our hunters hunting, that keeps the overall life of our people preserved, and helps us thrive. Our medicine men and medicine women. These people, the ones that care and tend for the sick, that does as, one to say that Jesus did, or one that they say that, those who are a follower of Christ and, tend to the sick, and check on your brother and everything. But we didn't know anything about their religion back then. We didn't take on their religion. We had our own ways of doing things. And in those own way of doing things, we had our own ceremonies and we knew our roots. We knew our herbs. We knew that the natural things in this land could heal our people because we ourselves are from the soil. And when we healed ourselves in wondrous ways, according to them, they found that as taboo. They found that as something that, this can't be natural. Although we're using natural herbs and natural remedies, this can't be something natural right here that's happening. It can't be. This is of Satan. This is of the devil. And that's because they had no understanding of how to use the roots and the herbs. And I'm telling you this right now. If you know of a mother, a grandmother, a aunt, a uncle, a grandfather, somebody who is well known, well versed, and well skilled in the herbs and the roots, get in contact with them. I would ask you to seek them out before you seek a doctor, because it's the natural things that are of this land that'll heal you faster than a lot of these different pharmaceutical things that are out there today. And this isn't medical advice. I'm not a medical professional by no means. But I know my roots. I know I have a powwow in which we understand and know today that the powwow is not an event. It is a medicine man. It is a healer. It is a shaman. It is a conjurer. It is those who know how to use the herbs and the roots to heal. Okay? My wife is my healer. You know what I mean? My wife is my healer. She knows her herbs. She knows her roots. So I said I wouldn't be making this video today. I'd probably still be sitting in the bed with a sore throat, mucus all in my lungs, going through a cold spell. But it's actually her knowing of roots and herbs that healed me, that got me got me forward to good health again. And so don't deny and don't write off anybody who knows their stuff, who knows their natural remedies. What we know today is natural remedies. Because the very well may be the same thing that saves your life. Because I tell you right now, a lot of these pharmaceutical medicines are chemical based, and a lot of them use the essence of what you know as herbs and roots today. A lot of pharmaceutical medicines are made from the different herbs and stuff that they tell you to stay away from today, that they want to call taboo, that they want to call, evil, that they want to say, oh, that's not real medicine, or that's not, but they could, excuse me, they want to say it's not real medicine, or they want to say it's not, it doesn't work or anything, but they're using the very same thing that they're saying doesn't work, doesn't work in their medicines to, along with other chemicals, man-based chemicals, to make it a generic medicine, to say that, oh, okay, yeah, this is going to help this is going to cure that, this is going to relax your muscles, this is what's going to suppress that cough. But one thing that they always count on is for there to be some kind of side effect that will allow you to have to buy even more of their pharmaceuticals. Otherwise, they wouldn't make any money. But a lot of these herbs, as you saw in the book, can cure. A lot of these herbs that you saw in the book, or that you seen the witnesses from these powwows, from their experience of powwows, can completely turn your life around and have you thriving again. Okay? So just keep that in mind. Don't rule out the herbs, don't rule out the roots, especially in this time, in this season, cold season, CV-19, whatever you want to call it, everything that's going on out here that they want you to be afraid of. You don't have anything to be afraid of, because we've been here. We've been doing this. All right? And you don't have to look for outside help. You got different natural herb books and remedy books and different things of that nature that our people and other people have written. And, the herbs they literally are accessible. Some may cost, a pretty penny, but a lot of the herbs, the basic simple herbs that you need, are literally tangible. They're accessible. All you need to do is do your research and see how to properly use them. And it can really change your life for the better. I tell you right now, I haven't been to a doctor since I was 18, 19. I got married at 23. And I still haven't been to a doctor as far as outside of a work-related accident that I've had. I haven't been to a doctor just for general health purposes or that nature. I didn't need to. What do I need to go to a doctor or a healer when I know my herbs and everything that I need is right there in front of me? I mean, that's me personally. Like I said, I'm not a medical expert, not giving anybody any medical advice, not telling you how to live your life. You do what you feel is needed for your health. Some of us need doctors. We need hospitals on a regular. I would never, discourage anybody from doing that. All I'm saying is do not limit yourself, or do not, completely write off the natural herbs and roots that we have here on Turtle Island that are accessible to us here on our landmass. Because before the doctors and the hospitals and everything came around, we had our own system of doing things. I would encourage you guys to study more about it, learn about it, and be about it. Implement these different, teas and these different, solves and supplements and stuff, and see what it does for you. But that's just my 2 cents. I'm gonna end the video on this note. We're gonna pick up on the other side of chapter 2 of this book, going into the warfare and different things that our people, did to get ready for war. But I tell you right now, we will not have been able to win the battles that we did, and we would not be able to be who we are and where we are today if it wasn't for our healers. Because we are not dead. We're not extinct. The American Indian is still alive and thriving, and a lot of it has to do with these old time remedies. All right. So once again, it's Chief Steve saying Tatakista. I cherish y'all. And if you're new to the channel and you made it this far, please like the video so more of our people can get this information, share it, share, and make sure that you subscribe to my regulars, to my real ones out there, my Nijis. I appreciate y'all. Tatakista as always. Make sure you like the video, share, continue to get this true story out there. All right, Chief Steve signing off. Till next time, y'all. Yokoki.